Hi everyone, Paisley here,
And this is Dr. Crow.
and we are so excited for Civ 7 that we've decided to come out of retirement and look at this trailer.
Yeah, let's take a look and maybe think about some of the historical facts.
So the beginning of the video starts with what I think is supposed to represent the concept of settlers. What do you think?
Yeah, it looks like a caravan. We have some camels here, oxen pulling carts. I think it looks like stones maybe, or some kind of chest.
Oh yeah, that's interesting. What are they even pulling? Because you had this idea it could be the Silk Road.
Right, but then thinking about it, I think settler makes more sense.
Right, and the camel actually tells us a lot about the location because camels are indigenous to, the Arabian region if they are one hump.
One hump, yeah.
The two hump camel is indigenous to the Mongolian region, is that
the
right?
Central Asia, the Bactrian camel.
But famously, the 1.5 hump cannot reproduce.
Famously.
So, the 1.5 hump camel is a hybrid that is, genetically modified by humans. So it doesn't exist in nature.
Yeah, so good thing there's no 1.5 humped camels here.
I actually can't tell how many humps it is. So, anyways, it's supposed to be Arabia. I'm pretty sure. The costuming, what do you think? I mean, the sand is a giveaway.
Maybe it's Ibrahim building the Kaaba.
Because it is stone, you're right.
It is stone, yeah.
Yeah, so because they're moving stone, it's probably representing some sort of settling pattern. Let's keep going to the next part. We go into forging, right?
Yeah, and then carving into the wall. It's sort of like hieroglyphics maybe in that back wall.
Right, and the next scene will transition into some Egyptian pyramids and such, so perhaps it's supposed to be...
discovery of writing maybe.
Right, and we do have a new person speaking. We went back and checked Civ 6 trailer. It's all Sean Bean, and here we have different voices. What do you make of that?
Yeah, no Bean. I mean, so far I kind of like it. I think Civ 5 I think was Leonard Nimoy. Civ 6 is Sean Bean. If it just did Civ 7 all Vin Diesel, you'd be kind of boring. So I'm glad they're switching it up a bit. Because history isn't just one voice too, it's many voices.
Wow, very deep.
Yeah.
And you did some research into the quotes?
Yeah, I looked on Reddit, and people have noted that these quotes are from historical sources. So people are speculating that they are the quotes that will be used for technologies.
Oh, very interesting. That makes sense. And I think in Civ 6, they did this promo release video where they killed Sean Bean. So I'm guessing maybe he's not coming back, which is quite tragic because he's always killed in everything he does.
Yeah.
But long live Sean Bean. So let's go to the next part here. Like I was saying, we see a little bit of a city forming, pyramids in the background, and something like Cleopatra here.
Yeah, it could be Cleopatra because even though she was Greek in origin, the Ptolemaic dynasty did represent themselves in Egyptian dress.
Right. Anything else to say about this scene here? Let's go back a little bit about this sort of city.
So this is something interesting. I have heard from Paisley's brother that the pyramids are in fact 12,000 years old and were designed with the help of an ancient Atlantean civilization. That's not the way most Egyptologists talk about it, but they are Quack-ademics. And one thing that's interesting though, which I believe is ahistorical, is I believe the current thinking is that the ramp that they used to build the pyramids was just a straight ramp and not the kind of spirally ramp we see here.
And is this from the Quack-ademics?
This is from the Quack-ademics, so
okay.
Take it with a grain of salt.
Dr. Crow had to watch 3 hours of a debate, which I think you enjoyed.
It was very good.
Would you recommend
I would,
our audience?
Yes.
To please plug in
Have
this
you heard
debate.
of Joe Rogan?
Okay, let's keep going. So they're incorrectly showing the building of the pyramids, and we're going to the Chinese Great Wall.
Great Wall. Looks like we have some maybe Mongols
attacking, and I mean I think we can be certain it's Mongols because here is Genghis Khan in the left.
Although the Mongols famously were let in the Great Wall.
What do you mean?
They bribed the general on the other side.
I don't know if that's famously known fact. Leave in the comments if you knew this famous fact. Okay, so yes, there's the battle over the wall.
We have some gunpowder there too. Okay. And now it looks like a
Moving into the Renaissance.
Renaissance. Yeah. Well, maybe Baroque. Oh no, I guess Renaissance.
Right, so we have certain. What do you know about the costuming here?
Well, I mean, it could be a kind of, yeah, Venetian style masquerade, which again is very associated with the Baroque period. Yeah, I mean, I think the spectators in the background look like they're kind of opera goers, maybe. So,
Right. I mean, yes, there's also the person playing the violin in the background. And from the architecture, I'm not exactly sure where I'm looking, but I know I'm looking somewhere in Europe. Uh, you don't need to be a historian, an architectural historian, to know that. I'm
yeah,
sure the details are clear to someone who studies European history. This part, I think I can clearly say is supposed to be England, though.
I think the style of dress, the wigs, I think it's very clearly supposed to be the 17th or 18th centuries. And we have sort of port city. So I'm guessing this is meant to represent mercantilism, capitalism. We have a painter here.
Right, and they're showing this sort of age of expansion through boats and industrialization, through the train, and of course, lots of labor issues related to industrialization.
Right.
It's a beautiful trailer. Well, yeah, the Civ 6 one had real historical photographs. Here it's all stylized.
Yeah.
So we move, I think, very rapidly again from the industrial era to the space age, which I guess technically
Pretty fast.
it does happen quickly. But it does indicate that the sort of concept of Civ 7 as a game that moves forward through history, as we've seen through these sort of set time periods that historians are perhaps a little bit pushing back against, that is still going to be a part of Civ 7, right?
For sure. I think so much of the game has been kind of set, like what we expect from it. We very much expect it's kind of starting in the Stone Age and moving to the Space Age and a kind of straight path throughout history. And again, as we know, obviously history doesn't necessarily have a kind of goal it's going towards, right? There's not a what's called a teleological view of history.
Right. Can you explain this word a little bit more?
Right, so the idea would be that you are kind of setting up the end of history, and that all of history is leading up towards this end. And so, for example, the classic idea of that is Hegel's history, which is ending in this kind of single goal, right? But nowadays, we kind of prefer to think about history in terms of contingencies and things that could have gone a different way, and not so much thinking about it in terms of history having one purpose, one direction, and one set path.
Right. And it's really difficult to break out of this vision, I think, because how you imagine beyond what has been, unburdened by what can be.
Yeah.
And I think that's the challenge with a game like this. Are you sort of representing history based on what you know? Or is it possible to imagine something beyond it? And is it the purpose of a game like Civ? Because they seem to be very much interested in representing history accurately.
Right. I think it's an interesting question because, on one hand, you know, it's a trailer. We got to condense history very fast, and we're kind of choosing important moments, very recognizable moments in history. But at the same time, one way to think about it would be to say, okay, well, the height of the Zulu Empire was in the 19th century, or the unification of Hawaii was in the 19th century. So it would be interesting to go from the train to showing the unification of Hawaii or showing the Zulu. And that would kind of destabilize that notion that you go right from industrialization to the space age and there's no other, you know, paths going on in history at that time.
Right, because history isn't just this one path, it's layered narratives. And the other question, I would have for Civ developers is the point of representing history through a game. I mean, we can write books, we can shoot films and TV shows, but what is it about the game medium that can go beyond those other forms that we have and do something more interesting? And what do you think game can bring to the telling of history?
Mm-hmm.
So let's finish off this trailer here. And so it shall be Civ 7.
You have the hexagon right there.
Yep. Don't think they're leaving the hexagon
no,
shape.
I don't think so.
So some final thoughts. We're really excited for Civ 7. As critical as you may think we were. We are huge fans of this game.
Oh yeah.
And we're really looking forward to the gameplay release in a few days. But before that, hopefully we'll come out with a wish list.
Yeah. Just to see our wishes unfulfilled immediately.
Yeah. So thank you for watching this short video. Hopefully we'll be able to put out more now that our infant sleeps sometimes.
Very rarely.
Very early. Bye, everyone.
See you next time.